Well, they did a nice Cody and Brock package, but it's obviously all things that we have conversed about before. And then the main event of SmackDown. Yes, folks, that's the whole network television program except for the main event segment, which, of course, is an interview. Not even an interview, but a talk show segment. The KO show, Kevin Owens. Owens and Sammy are going to team up on this one, and their guests are going to be Roman and Solo. Here's the thing. Besides why does everybody have an irregularly scheduled intermittent talk show segment with a cheesy, fake-looking set with chairs or palm fronds or balloons or whatever the fuck? How does this happen? How do they just take over the program? Because Piper's Pit was a thing for 4-minute segments tops 40 years ago. That now, that just everybody, instead of just writing down an interview with so-and-so, well, let's give them a talk show. All of these people do not need talk shows, Jerry.
Again, what is it? A talk show. There was Rogers Corner, and then it became Victory Corner, and then it became Piper's Pit. And you said it was 4 minutes, maybe 4 minutes. It was maybe 2.5 minutes, 2 minutes. It was in and out. It was quick. It wasn't with the fans behind them. You could hear what they're saying. They weren't.
We did it in the WCW in the 80s. Funk's Grill, the Louisville Sluggers. 3 minutes, live interview with the fucking talent.
In and out. Then at some point it became like everyone needs an in-ring, and they're called talk shows now. It's a talk show in the middle of this show, and they do these. And sometimes you forget, but like so many of these different people, like Miz has Miz TV, and Owens has this, and I think Christian had something at one point, and Jericho had something at one point. So many various different people had just, here's my talk show. And it's not like Piper's Pit appearing every week for 3 years, 4 years. Just random. It's the KO show. And my guest is going to be, naturally, the person I'm going to wrestle this weekend that I hate. What?
Well, yeah, can you think about the Rock and Roll Express being given a talk show on Crockett's TV and sitting down with the Midnight Express or the Four Horsemen to have a chat for 15 minutes?
The day before War Games.
Yeah. So anyway, but that's what was allegedly going to happen here. But then Paul Heyman, that's what his name is, came out with 2 of the 3 world heavyweight title belts and says Roman doesn't come out when you want, but he comes out when he wants, and suddenly the Usos music plays, and Paul is confused because this wasn't supposed to happen. And the Usos get in the ring, and they have the argument or confrontation, whatever descriptive term you want to use. But basically, Owens tells the Usos that Sammy's been right all along about how Roman treats them and how they deserve better. And he may be the head of the table, but they're the heart of the table, and he's using them. And he made an impassioned speech to try to wake the Usos up and called them errand boys. And then that's what Jimmy, I believe, got pissed off and fired up because Owens was really winding them up there. And they were trying to take up for themselves that they call their shots and they do their thing. And Jimmy finally says, I am the tribal chief. And Paul shits himself. And then Roman's music hits.
Yeah, then the music guy goes, I better play this.
Yeah, because elsewise, Roman wouldn't have been able to go down there and confront his bloodline. So Roman comes down and throws both the Usos' microphones out of the ring. And Sammy starts talking to Roman, basically telling him that the bloodline's done, it's finished, and it's all your fault, Roman Reigns. And then Kevin suddenly from the blind side kicks Roman and hits him with a stunner. And the Usos get in a 4-way with Sammy and Kevin. And Solo comes in and spikes both of Cammy and Seven. Sammy and Kevin. Or Cammy and Seven.
Cammy and Seven, I like
another
that.
lifetime. And Roman Reigns tears the set up and pitches a fit and spears Sammy. And then now there's all the tag team belts laying in the ring. And so the Usos pick up 2 of the belts each. They've each got 2 of them. And Jay hands his to Solo, and Jimmy won't give his 2 up. And Jay gets them from him and hands them to Roman, but Jimmy doesn't join the celebration. And meanwhile, Owens and Zayn lay there immobile forever because it's not their stage cue to get up and limp off yet. The end. Oh, I'm sorry, I should say, and scene. But it had action, it had interest, it had excitement, more twists and turns and strife in the Bloodline camp. Brian, your thoughts?
I mean, this is what you wait for. This is what you try to get through this whole show for, is the little bits of this. No disrespect to the athleticism and the ability of any of the wrestlers, but on SmackDown, this commercial-heavy show, you're just waiting for any of the drama with the Bloodline. Not even matches. The drama. At this point, they're better than the matches with these guys. They teased Jey Uso problems for weeks. Then they switched it to Jimmy Uso now for weeks, and we'll talk about the pay-per-view in a little while. It's a slow-moving plot, but the moments you get are pretty cool. When Sami says to Roman, it's over.
Yeah.
And you see Roman's face. I mean, that's one of the more underrated things about him. Forget about him as, I'm the bad.
Reactions.
The reactions when it's not the news he wants. He's really good at that. And he was perfect here because you could tell it is a genuine fear that the Bloodline's blowing up. This is the perfect time to introduce Jacob Fatu. But anyway, the Bloodline's blowing up.
Oh, God damn it.
I thought that was good. They teased the stuff with Jimmy Uso. Again, he was the one, remember, Jey Uso was the one who had problems with everyone, and Jimmy was the one who...
Yeah.
Jimmy was the one who super kicked Sami at the Royal Rumble, I think. So they've switched everyone's role in that respect.
That's maybe why I keep having trouble which one's which, because I was like, well, now one guy was more on the side of that, but nevertheless, it's constantly changing.
What do you think of, and I think they did this, although I think I heard Heyman use it during the pay-per-view, what do you think of them dropping Sikoa and now just calling him Solo?
I think it probably works better because, he's the henchman. He's not going to get, I don't think, focused on as a top singles guy in the world title picture yet. But Solo Sikoa kind of reminds us of the guy from NXT. We all call him Solo anyway, right? So I don't think it's a huge change, but maybe just something else that they can make it easier to talk about him.
He's perfect in his role. I have to say, he's really impressed me. He's so good in his role. I'm not saying like elevate him, make him a main eventer, because I don't think everyone's, it's not everyone's time all the time. But as that guy, as that badass who stands there and says nothing, and when he finally acts, he does damage, he's great. I think he's been doing great.
Yeah, well, actually, I don't want to spoil anything. Spoiler alert. But when we talk about the pay-per-view, I've made note that he's improving. In his matches, he's getting better. He's getting more comfortable. He doesn't seem like he's walking around plodding, kicking, and punching because he's trying to figure out what to do next, like we saw months ago. He's moving along and he's getting more comfortable, it seems like. So, yes, I agree with you.